so much for joining me for some fairy tale science today. My name is Sue Gagliardi, and I am a children's author, and I am a third grade teacher, and I'm so excited to share this program with you today. I love writing for children, and I love the research that I do in writing my books, and I hope that you enjoy learning more about bridges and how they work, and have fun designing and building your own bridges, and also learning about some really cool bridges around the world. I'll be sharing some photos and some information about some really neat designs and cool bridges that we find in different parts of the world. Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing the story of the Gingerbread Man with you. And this is a retelling of the traditional version of the story of the fairy tale, The Gingerbread Man. One day, a woman baked a gingerbread man to eat. She opened the oven door. The gingerbread man jumped out of the oven. He ran out of the house. He did not want to be eaten. The woman and her husband ran after the gingerbread man, but he was too fast. They could not catch him. A cow and a pig ran after him. A horse and a goat ran after him too. They all wanted to eat him, but no one could catch the quick gingerbread man. The gingerbread man came to a river. He had no way to cross it. A sly fox offered to let the gingerbread man ride on his back. Then the fox convinced the gingerbread man to sit on his nose. He opened his mouth, and we all know what happened. He ate the gingerbread man. And sad for the gingerbread man, in this original traditional version of the fairy tale, the fox does outsmart the gingerbread man. And I know we've probably heard some other retellings of this story of the fairy tale where the gingerbread man outsmarts the fox. So that's what we're going to try to do. We're going to try to help the gingerbread man to outsmart the fox by crossing a bridge instead of going into the water. So we're going to think of some ways to build a bridge that will support the weight that we put on it. Okay, so here is a photograph of a red fox, and see in our caption here that red foxes are good swimmers. Okay, so he was right there waiting for the gingerbread man in the river. So we want to find a way to help him. So we're going to build a model bridge, and we're going to build some different types of model bridges with different types of materials. I'll tell you more about that in just a bit. So if the gingerbread man had used a bridge, the fox would not have eaten him. You will design 3 model bridges for the gingerbread man. And you can always design more as well, but I'm going to share with you some ideas for 3 different kinds of bridges. You will test different materials to build the strongest bridge. Okay, so here we have, throughout the book, you'll see some photographs of bridges in the real world, and here our caption tells us that many bridges stretch across water to make travel easier. So the purpose of our bridges is to connect people and connect places. Okay, and oftentimes they are across bodies of water. That's what we wanted to help the gingerbread man to build a bridge for him. So here we have some of the kinds of materials that you might like to use, and just some suggestions at first to get you started. But these are really like more open kinds of activities where you can think about what materials you would like to use and the kinds of designs you would like to create. So this is just to kind of get you started, okay? Each bridge should be at least 12 inches or 30 centimeters long, okay? So you can use your ruler or tape measure to measure that out. The bridges must be able to stand on their own, okay? So they need to stand up all by themselves without you holding onto them on a flat surface. They should stand up, and they should support the weight of at least 3 rocks without breaking. They should withstand the weight for at least 1 minute. So you can go ahead and time it and see if your bridge can hold the weight, can still stay standing with the weight on top of it. Some of the materials that you may use are pieces of cardboard. You can go ahead and cut maybe a box, a package that came into to your house, delivered to your house. And one thing about cardboard boxes and cutting the cardboard tends to be thick and it's a little tricky to cut. So be helpful to have a parent or an adult to help you with cutting that, just to make sure that you're safe as you're cutting those thicker kinds of cardboard materials. Having some cardboard tubes, such as paper towel rolls, craft sticks are great for building bridges, aluminum foil, tape, you'll need lots of tape to hold everything together, especially with the craft sticks. I found that as I was making my model, which I'll show you in a moment, that it was a good idea to have a lot of tape to also reinforce it and make it a little stronger. Have some heavy books, some small rocks, and a timer or stopwatch that you can use to see how long your bridge can stay standing with the weight that you put on it. Okay, so once you've gathered some of those materials, you can go ahead and start building your bridges. Instructions for making the bridges, again, they're just pretty basic just to get you started. And then you go ahead and as you're building your bridges, you'll find different ideas. You'll discover ideas along the way. And I'll show you an idea that I discovered along the way in a moment. So for the first one, you can build the first model bridge with cardboard and cardboard tubes. You can use index cards, cardstock, any kind of cardboard or paper, like thicker paper or cardstock kind of paper. Attach the cardboard together with tape. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do it. There's one example here where there's a bridge attached with tape, and we can see the supports, which we'll learn more about those in a little bit. The supports are the cardboard tubes, like the paper towel rolls. For the second model bridge, you're going to build that with craft sticks and attach the sticks together with tape. And if you do not have craft sticks, you can gather maybe some branches or twigs from the yard, if you have those, or see what else you can use. I wanted to just show you for a moment. This is, if you can see, I'll try to show you a little bit here. This is a bridge that I built with craft sticks. So I taped them together. Okay, I taped 3 rows, or rows of 3. And then I found as I was building my bridge that, should I move it back a little bit, you can see it better. As I was building my bridge, it fell down. I guess as soon as I first built it, it did not hold its own weight. So I needed to think about it and think, well, how can I make it stronger and more stable so that it will not fall down? So what I did was, it seemed like the bottom part just seemed to want to make a triangle, like kind of naturally. So I taped them together as triangles, and I found that it really held its own weight, and it was able to hold the weight of the rocks as I put the rocks on it, as well as able to hold that weight as well. And yours, of course, will be on a flat surface on the table. Okay, and then for the third model bridge, you're going to build that with foil, with aluminum foil, and fold the foil to form a bridge shape, and use books to support each end of the bridge. And then for the last part, you want to measure each bridge. The span of each bridge, okay, should be at least the 12 inches or 30 centimeters long. Okay, and throughout this book, I included some fun facts about bridges. So this fun fact here shows that some bridges have 2 levels. Cars can cross on both the upper and the lower levels. Okay, so that's a really cool design for a bridge as well. It's something you could think about as you're building and designing your bridges. And you can feel free to stop this video, to pause it at any time. So if you wanted to go ahead and get started right now with building your cardboard bridge or your craft stick bridge, you can go ahead and start doing that and working through some ideas. And you could always come back to the video to find out more information. Okay, so after you've built your bridge, you want to test your bridge. Okay, so you built your bridges. You want to place your bridge first on a flat surface, on the table or on the floor. It's best on like the flat surface of the floor rather than a carpet, so it's not bumpy. And then you want to get a rock that you gathered just from outside, or if you have a rock collection, and place it in the middle of the bridge and start your timer or start your stopwatch. And then start adding more rocks to your bridge. Just one at a time. I'm going to hold it up so you can really see that a little bit. Just start adding your rocks one at a time. You have your timer going, and you want to see how long your bridge can stand and withstand that weight. Okay, see if the bridge stays standing. If the bridge is still standing after the 1 minute, add more rocks. Okay, and keep adding more weight to it and see how many rocks you can add before the bridge breaks. Okay, and then you would repeat those same steps for the other 2 bridges as well. Okay, and the photo here gives an idea also of how you can do that. You can add some craft sticks going across this way as well, and add your weight, add your rocks to the bridge like that. Here's another fun fact for you about bridges. The first bridges were made of fallen trees. Okay, and I have some cool natural bridges to share with you. So the ones made of the fallen trees were natural bridges, and in a little while I'll share some other really cool natural bridges from different parts of the world. Today, builders use different materials. They use concrete and steel to construct bridges to make them really sturdy and stable and strong to support the weight of the traffic that crosses it. Okay, we'll take a little break from our building and designing and testing our bridges for a moment to look at a bridge in the real world. So here we see a drawbridge. And you think about if there's a time when you may have seen a drawbridge or been near a drawbridge when it opened, you got to see perhaps the boats that are able to pass under once the drawbridge is open. A drawbridge is a bridge that can move. Hundreds of years ago, people built wooden drawbridges over moats. The bridges led to castles. People inside could lower or raise the drawbridge. They used ropes or chains. They lowered the bridge so others could enter the castle. They raised the bridge to stop enemies from crossing the moat. So they used that drawbridge as a way of protecting the castle, protecting the people inside the castle. Today, people build drawbridges across large waterways. These bridges are made of steel or concrete. Electric motors raise or lower them. Large ships can pass underneath a raised drawbridge, and cars can cross a lower drawbridge. So a drawbridge is raised, here we see in the photo, so that the boat can pass. Okay, and I'm excited to share some other really cool bridges with you in just a little bit. Okay, so after you've built your bridge, your different bridges, and you've tested them, you want to think about the results. And this is where you may find, even as you're building them and as you're testing them, some things that work well and some things that maybe didn't work out as well. And think about some ways that you can go ahead and improve your design of your bridge. So this chapter here, chapter 3, will give you a few ideas to get you thinking about ways to improve your bridge to help it support more weight and to stay standing. Because remember, we want to help the gingerbread man to cross the river safely and avoid the fox. So as we're thinking about our results, some of the materials that are thicker, such as craft sticks and the cardboard, they tend to support more weight than the other materials. So you may find that using those materials helps you to build a more stable, stronger bridge that can stay up on its own and hold the weight that you're putting on it. The aluminum foil is thin. So you're thinking about that, your foil may have sagged. It can sag under the weight of the rocks. So think about how you can still use that aluminum foil, but make it so that it's stronger, that it's sturdier and more stable, so that it doesn't sag under the weight of the rocks. And in a moment, I'll share an idea with you about that as well. And this bridge here we see is made of concrete. So concrete is a common building material for bridges. Okay. So as you think about different ways to improve your bridges, you can kind of keep these things in mind, and I'm sure you'll think of lots of other ways as well. If the bridge sags, so if the bridge, you had it nice and level and straight and strong, and then as you add weight, it may start to sag down in the middle or in a different part of it. So if the bridge sags, you can add some support under the middle of the bridge. Okay, so like here with my bridge here, I have my supports under the middle as well. You can add for your cardboard bridge or even for your craft stick bridge, maybe some more of the paper towel rolls, and maybe you can cut them down so that they fit under the bridge, the deck of the bridge, so that you can support it better. For the aluminum foil, remember it's thinner, it may sag a little more under some of the weight of the rock. Try folding that aluminum foil to make it thicker. Okay, and thicker layers, see if that helps to support the weight a little better. So you can experiment with the width of the bridge. You can make a wider bridge, okay? And think about that as you're building it. Can a wide bridge hold more weight than a narrow bridge? Test it out, okay? Test two bridges of different widths. Make a narrow bridge and a wider bridge and see, make a guess, and then test it out and see which one holds more weight. Okay, if you notice a difference, and why do you think that's the case? So here's another fun fact about bridges. Some bridges have sections where cars, trains, and people can pass at the same time. So that's really cool to think about all the different kinds of traffic that a bridge can hold. And in a little bit, I have a bridge to show you, a photo of a bridge that has all those kinds of traffic passing at the same time. So it's pretty cool. This really, really cool design here, engineers can give bridges really unique designs. So as you're building your bridge, your different bridges, think about how you can design them. And the bridges in the around the world that I'll share with you in just a bit will give you some really cool ideas to get you started to be creative, and you can decorate your bridge. You can create in some really cool, neat design. Okay, now we're going to take just a little bit of a look at the science of bridges. Okay, what makes that bridge stand up and support the weight, and what are some of the different parts of a bridge? So all bridges have a deck, supports, and a foundation. Okay, the traffic crosses the bridge on the deck. Okay, so like in my bridge here, this top part here, this is the deck. That's where my traffic is crossing the bridge. The supports, which I have here, hold or lift the bridge, lift up the deck. Okay, so and because mine is not on a flat surface, it's kind of bendy, but when it's laying on the flat surface, it stays nice and strong and straight and stable. Okay, so the supports hold or lift up this deck, and then the foundation supports the whole bridge. Okay, so we'll learn a little bit more about the foundation as well. Here we see the cars driving across the deck of the bridge. Some bridges cross over land. Their foundations go deep into the ground. Okay, so they have that really strong foundation to make sure that they can support the weight and stay standing and not fall. Other bridges cross over water. Their foundations go in the rock under deep water. Okay, so even though they're over the water and their foundations are in the water, they're anchored in the rock that's deep under the water to hold them up and to support them. Bridges come in different forms. The simplest type is the girder bridge. Thick columns or supports stand under either end of a flat beam. Okay, so it's really kind of like this. Okay, a flat beam. Okay, your deck, and then you have the columns or supports just to hold that up. Okay. Arch bridges are similar. Supports hold the deck up, but the supports have a curve shape. Okay, so they're more curved. In suspension bridges, such as this one here, this really cool bridge, the deck hangs from thick cables. Okay, so you can see these cables here, and the cables attach to tall towers. Now this is, and I'll show you a larger photo of this in a little while. This bridge is named the Samuel Beckett Bridge, and it's in Ireland, and it's a suspension bridge. We can see the thick cables there, and it's in Dublin, Ireland, and it has the shape of a harp. Okay, so there's a suspension bridge that the engineers just designed such a really cool design, very unique design for a bridge, and a special symbol for people in Ireland. Whatever their shape, all bridges must withstand several forces. They must support their own weight. Okay, so like our bridges here that we're building has to stand on its own and support its own weight, first of all, and then they have to support the weight of the traffic as well, whatever's crossing the bridge. Okay. A heavy load can cause some parts of the bridge to squeeze together. This force is called compression. Okay, and let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so this infographic here, the illustration shows some examples of the forces in bridges. So we have compression, where some parts of the bridge squeeze together when it has that heavy load on it. Okay, so like the car weighs down the deck of this girder bridge in the first illustration here. Okay, the top part of the deck experiences compression. Okay, so that part squeezes together while the bottom part experiences what we call tension. Okay, so that part is where the load causes other parts of the bridge to stretch. Okay, so the parts where it squeezes together like that is the compression, and the parts where the bridge is stretching is the tension part. Okay, so those two forces, the pressing together, the squeezing together, the compression, and the stretching, okay, or the tension, they must be balanced for the bridge to stand. Okay, so builders have to really design and test and plan their bridges so that those two forces are balanced. Okay, so that the bridge will stand and be able to support the weight of the traffic that crosses it. A strong bridge could have helped the gingerbread man cross the river safely. So that's what we're trying to build here. Okay, and there's two other examples of different kinds of bridges. Here's an arch bridge that has the curved shape here. Okay, this shape sends the compression force to the two ends of the curve. Okay, and there's little tension in an arch bridge. So this is where the red arrows are showing you where the compression, the squeezing part, takes place there. And here we have a suspension bridge. Okay, and suspension bridge, we see here where the compression is and then the tension as well along the cables. Okay, and here's another fun fact about bridges. Suspension bridges can be damaged by torsion, and that's a force that happens when high winds make the deck twist and roll. Okay, so that's another force that happens when we have really high winds. So again, that's something that the engineers and the builders have to consider as they're planning their bridges and building their bridges. Okay, so I just wanted to show you a little bit more here with the suspension bridge, since we just talked about that with the torsion. The deck here, they hang from the thick cables of the tall towers, and the cables stretch with the tension, and the towers are squeezed by compression. Okay, so here we see the tower squeezed by compression while the cables stretch with tension. And once those forces are balanced, then our bridge will stand and be stable and be able to support the weight of the traffic that crosses it. Okay, so that is everything that I wanted to share from the book itself right now. And I hope that you should have lots of fun building your bridges, and I would love to see your creations as well. So I wanted to share that for a moment. If you go to my website, it's SueGagliardi.com, and you're welcome to go ahead and explore and take a look at some of the other books that I've written and see some of the magazine articles and stories and poems that I've written. These 3 books are in the Fairy Tale Science series. So if you enjoyed making a bridge for the Gingerbread Man, I also wrote a book about the 3 Billy Goats Gruff, making a raft to help them to safely cross their river and avoid the troll, and also making a windproof house for the 3 little pigs to protect them from the wolf. And there are a few other books in the series as well, if you'd like to explore those. Some of the other books that I've written, you can learn more about on my website as well. So we have our Fairy Tale Science. There are books for getting outside in winter and spring and doing some fun activities. Some other books here that you see about natural disasters, about fairies. And then these books are coming out this summer where you use cardboard, similar to what we are doing with the Gingerbread Man Bridge. Cardboard to design your own robot, castles, and rockets. And just like with the Gingerbread Man Bridge, how we have some real life examples and some information about bridges in the real world, these books give information about real life robots, castles, and rockets as well. So I wanted to show you just one other part right now of the website. If you look at this tab here, it says Gingerbread Man Bridge. If you click on that, there's information about how you can submit your photos of your bridge designs and creations to me, and I can put them on my website for you to be able to see and to be able to share and to see the cool designs that other children create as well. So the pictures will appear here on this page, and there is a bridge photo submission form that I ask for you to be able to submit your photos of your amazing bridge designs. First, I'd like you to ask your parents to submit this permission form, saying that they give permission for your picture of your bridge to be posted, and if they would like your first name with that as well. And once I receive this permission form back, I will send you an email to your parents' email address with information on how you can share your photos. So I'm looking forward to seeing your photos of your bridge creations, and I hope that you would like to share those. Okay, so I'd like to finish out our program today and share with you some really cool bridges that I discovered in my research as I was researching the book, Making a Bridge for the Gingerbread Man, and researching this program for you as well. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start that slideshow for you. Let's give it a moment just to load. You're going to see some really cool bridges from different places around the world. It's not going to go too fast for us. Okay, so here we have some pictures of some bridges from around the world. And I'm going to tell you about some of these cool bridges. Okay, so first we were talking about natural bridges. Let's let that disappear for a moment so you can see that. Natural bridges. So this is the simplest kind of bridge and the oldest kind of bridge too, where bridges were made from materials that were found in nature. So this natural bridge is a log bridge, and this is in Slovakia. And there are many examples of these all around the world. So this is a simple beam bridge or girder bridge where you have the log across the river with some supports, and then people could use that to cross. Okay, so making connections, connecting people, connecting places. That's what our bridges are for. Okay, this is another kind of a natural bridge, and this is in India, and these are called root bridges. And I thought these are so cool. These are actually made, they're all natural, made from the roots of the rubber tree. These are rubber trees, and the roots, as they grow, it's all natural, but the people who live in the village nearby help kind of guide those roots along. So they'll lay out bamboo, strips of bamboo, and if you ever seen like maybe a vine that started to trail around a fence post, or maybe in a garden that you've seen, or in your yard, they start to kind of wind their way around the structure, whether it's a fence or a pole or something like that. So that's what the people in the village, they lay bamboo out so that the roots start to twist and just weave all around the strips of bamboo so that it forms a bridge shape. So I was reading that it can take up to 20 years for these roots to grow and for them to be guided along to create a bridge that's strong enough for a person to walk across, to support a person's weight. So here we see a person is walking across this bridge. So that tells us that this root bridge is probably about 20 years old. So I thought that was really, really cool natural bridge. These are some other natural bridges, and these are in the state of Utah, in the United States. And these are made from sandstone. And what happens is through floods and through high winds and different kinds of weathering, the stone starts to break apart. Okay, and the bridge is actually carved out of that stone by the water and the wind and by nature. So those are really, really cool. So they're actually formed by erosion, by the water flowing in the stream bed from the canyon, and they wear away the rock. Okay, so these bridges are actually always changing as the rock is worn away. Okay, and this bridge is named Wachamo, and that means rock mound. Okay, there's actually 3 bridges in this natural bridges monument in Utah. Another bridge that is a natural bridge in Utah is named the Rainbow Bridge, and we can see why they would call it the Rainbow Bridge. It has that beautiful shape of the rainbow, and this formed as the glaciers melted and flash floods carved away the sandstone, carved away that stone to form that bridge. Okay, so it changes over time as rain and wind carry away bits of sand, and how cool that it's the shape of a rainbow. Okay, this is a bridge that is actually in Pennsylvania. It's not very far from where many of us live, in Hatboro and Willow Grove and places like that. And this is the Pine Valley Covered Bridge. And it's actually, you can take this bridge along the way to Peace Valley Park and Lake Helena, if you've been there. And so you can ride through that. It's also called the Iron Hill Bridge, and it crosses Pine Run Creek. It's a wooden bridge that's made of hemlock and pine trees, and it's a single lane bridge. So when cars are coming one way, the traffic in the opposite direction has to wait until the car passes so they can pass safely through. So I wanted to show you a side view of that. Okay, so it gives you an idea of just how long it is, and it was built to protect the wooden structure of the bridge span itself from the weather. When I was researching more about covered bridges, I discovered that the very first covered bridge was actually in Philadelphia. Okay, and it was called the Permanent Bridge because it was a bridge to provide a permanent way of crossing the Schuylkill River. So this photo here shows an image, an illustration of what that covered bridge looked like. And as I was researching more, I found that that bridge, unfortunately, was destroyed by fire in 1800s. And then there were 4 more bridges that were built, and this is the bridge that's standing today, and that may look familiar to you if you've been out to the Philadelphia area. This crosses the Schuylkill River, and it connects Center City, Philadelphia, with University City, where we have some of our colleges, universities, Drexel University, University of Pennsylvania. And this part here, this building here, is actually 30th Street Station, where Amtrak trains run through there, and SEPTA trains. So this bridge is now called the Market Street Bridge, and it's the same site, the exact site of where the very first covered bridge was back in 1800s. So I thought that was pretty cool to see that there is a bridge standing there now that we could actually cross where it once was a covered bridge, that same spot. Here we have the Ben Franklin Bridge, which connects Pennsylvania, New Jersey. It connects Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Camden, New Jersey. And this is an example of a suspension bridge. And earlier, when I was sharing some of the fun facts in the book, I shared that some bridges can support traffic with cars and trucks and people crossing, and also trains. And the Ben Franklin Bridge is one of those bridges that can do that. So I wanted to show you a couple more pictures of the Ben Franklin Bridge. So here we see on the deck of the bridge, we see where the cars and trucks can pass in all the lanes of traffic. And then here we have a pedestrian walkway. So it's for pedestrians, for people to walk across the bridge. So you can walk from Philadelphia to New Jersey along that pedestrian walkway. You can see here's someone riding a bicycle, so it's for cyclists as well. So we have our vehicle traffic, cars and trucks. We have pedestrians, people walking, people biking, cyclists, and also on the same bridge, same time, we have a train that runs alongside. So right up here is where the pedestrian walkway would be. You can see, if you can look closely, some people actually walking there. And this is the PATCO high-speed line train that, again, you can take from Philadelphia to different stations in New Jersey. And it rides right along there. And I've been on this train, and it's really neat to see when you're on this, like sitting with the window on this side. You can see over the river, and it's just like you're flying. You just see out of the river, and then you can also see the traffic passing along the bridge as well. So it's pretty cool. Here is a very famous bridge that you may recognize in California, and this is in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge. And this is another suspension bridge, and it spans over what we call the Golden Gate, which is a narrow passage of water called the Strait. The Strait connects San Francisco Bay with the Pacific Ocean. And this bridge has been declared one of the wonders of the modern world. Okay, beautiful suspension bridge. Okay. Now, this bridge we saw a smaller photo of in the Gingerbread Man bridge book. I want to share a little bit more about it. So this is a Samuel Beckett bridge in Ireland. So you notice that bridges have names. So as you're designing and building your bridge, you think of what you would like to name your bridge as well. You can think of some really creative, cool names for your bridges. And if you do choose to submit your photos of your bridges to me, which I hope that you will, if you have permission to do so, you can include your special name for your bridge. So this is a Samuel Beckett bridge, again designed in the shape of a harp. Okay, and this is a cable-stayed bridge. And it's designed to, again, resemble the harp, and it can actually rotate. At this part, it can rotate, it can open up to allow ships to pass, okay? And here's another bridge that is in London, England, the Tower Bridge, another famous bridge that you may recognize. You notice that towers on the side. We have the drawbridge here. We have some cable here, the decks. So there's a lot of different structures within that bridge as well. This is another bridge in England. It's called the Twin Sails Bridge, And when you first take a look at it, you may think, well, I wonder why it's called the Twin Sails Bridge. It looks like it's pretty neat, but it's, a flat beam bridge. It doesn't really seem to have too much more with the design. But if we take a look at some other images of it, the bridge actually opens up, like similar to the drawbridges that we saw before. And it allows the ships to pass. And then I'll show you a couple of other views. As you're seeing it open, you can start to see why it might be called the Twin Sails Bridge. And here's the final picture I want to show you. It actually looks like two sails of a ship, and they are standing up like the sails of a ship as ships pass through. So I thought that was a really cool design. So creative with the designs. The next bridge is called the Lucky Knot Bridge, and this bridge is in China. And this bridge is only for pedestrian traffic. Cars and trucks, vehicles do not pass through it. And the design is based on the Chinese folk art of knotting, and the red and the knot symbolize good luck. And I'll show you another. You can see people up on the bridge here, but I have another image that can show you a close-up, so you can kind of get a feel for what it'd be like to actually walk across and through that bridge, all the twisty knots. Okay, so that's, again, just for the pedestrians to be able to cross. This is a cool bridge in England, and it's called the Gateshead Millennium Bridge. Okay, so this bridge can actually tilt to allow ships to pass, and it looks like an eyelid slowly opening as it raises. Okay, so here's another image of that, so you can kind of think like an eyelid opening up and closing, and it does that so that the ships can pass under it. Okay, this is a really, really important and really, really awesome bridge. At first glance, it looks like a simple beam bridge. We don't see any water there. It doesn't look like a very large span that it crosses. But this bridge is actually in Iceland, and I had the joy of visiting Iceland a few years ago, and to be at the site where this bridge is called the bridge. Oh, get that back for you. Bridge Between the Continents in Iceland. It's also known as Leif the Lucky's Bridge, and that's in tribute to Leif Erikson, who was an explorer from Iceland. He was an Icelander, and he discovered the continent of North America. So it appears as a simple beam bridge at first, but what's super cool is that it connects the continents. Okay, it actually, we can show you, there's a little sign that goes with it as well. The bridge between the continents connects the North American plate with the Eurasian plate. So it actually connects Europe and North America, and you can walk across that bridge and walk between the continents, which is really cool. So it was built as a symbol for that connection between Europe and North America. Okay. The next bridge that I want to show you, this is one that I think is such a super cool design, and to think about it as you're designing your bridges, you can think of just really creative ways to make it unique, make it your own. You could design it in the shape of an animal, as a creature, as we see a dragon bridge here. And this bridge is in Vietnam. So in Asia, dragons are symbols of nobility and power and good luck and good fortune, and they appear in art and building structures. So this cool bridge has a dragon built right into its structure. And when I saw this, I thought, wow, what could be cooler than a dragon bridge? Well, how about, there we go, a fire-breathing dragon bridge. So in the evenings on weekends, you can see lots of people here on the bridge. The bridge is actually lit up, and they are able to have that dragon bridge actually breathe fire. So that is such a cool thing to be able to see that. Imagine walking on a fire-breathing dragon bridge. So that is really cool. And the last bridge that I want to share with you is known as the Golden Bridge, and this is also in Vietnam. And I just thought this was such a neat bridge. We see the hands there as support. So in the mountains of South Vietnam, giant pair of hands lifts a walkway high above the cliff tops, and it looks as if the mountain itself grew hands, grew limbs. It's a pedestrian walkway, so people can actually cross through that. So thinking about the hands and supporting the bridge, think about how you can support your bridge as you build connections, as you think about how the bridges support the connections between people and places. And I hope that you enjoy creating your bridges, and I'm really excited to see pictures of your bridges if you would like to share them. So feel free to go ahead and you can send me a message through my website for your bridges. And there's also a contact form on my website as well, where you can send me a message, share any thoughts that you have about this program or bridges in general, anything you'd like to share. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. Happy creating, and it was wonderful sharing with you. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye-bye.